the Nintendo Entertainment System. One of the most classic and revolutionary consoles, filled with iconic games such as Super Mario Bros., Metroid, and Duck Hunt. However, inside the NES's vast array of games, there are some lesser-known ones, even some peculiar ones. One such example is a game called Lucifer's Manor. Lucifer's Manor was a game created by a small company called the Brockletons, and they were essentially trying to create one of the very first horror games ever. They published the game in small quantities, so it's extremely hard to find a copy today, if there are even any still in existence. If you do somehow find one, to tell if it's legit or not, look for these obvious signs. The cover picture is a dead giveaway, as, unlike the majority of the NES library, frankly, it looks as though a second grader drew all over it in art class. The card is black with little specks of red all over, along with some scratches and an X formation along the sides. These effects were added to make the game seem creepier, although personally I don't see how bad drawings are creepy. Before I continue, I cannot stress this enough. It's strongly advised that you do not play the game. Saying that, I do realize that at least one of you will go out on an expedition to find this game, so I'm just going to break down what happens within, hopefully to lessen your curiosity. The game starts out with the baby blue Brockletons logo appearing on the screen, and then it goes to the title. Some cheesy 8-bit, scary music plays, and the game starts. The game starts out in a third-person perspective in which you, the main character, simply have to walk up to the door of the manor and open it. After doing so, the game switches to a first-person perspective, which is surprising considering this came out during the beginning of the NES era. You go down a hall and strange music plays, somewhat resembling a pitch-shifted 8-bit edition of a song straight from the movie Psycho. There are doors scattered around the walls along with foreign text, believed to be Latin, sprawled across. Every door leads to a room that contains a different key. Once you find the key, you leave the room and continue on to the next door. This process continues until exactly the 9th door. After you get the key from that door, the music starts getting softer and softer, and soon all you can hear is white noise. You then notice that the game starts looking worse and worse, as if it's degrading before your eyes. After this, a face, which is thought to be the main character's, appears on the screen saying, Lucifer's Manor. And then a few words in Latin, which roughly translate to, Hell awaits. The game then crashes, deleting all saved data upon reinsertion of the cart. Sometimes, albeit very rarely, the game doesn't crash, and you're allowed to keep playing. When you keep on walking through the hall, you'll notice that the words start changing from Latin to English, saying nonsense like, he stole it, not me. Dinner's ready, and the ship is here. Men, to your places. However, as you go farther down the hall, the words get more and more disturbing. Phrases such as, off with his head, end my suffering, and please, Lord, stop the torment, among others, begin to appear. Amid the sea of puzzling sentences, you'll see this frequent message. Kiomu is here. Nobody for sure knows who Kiomu is, or why he or she is mentioned so much in these writings. Sometimes, as you're walking through the hallway, a girl's face will show up on the wall and scream, This is who most people believe Kiomu is. You'll also begin to notice the occasional bloodstains on the keys and some mysterious writing in an unknown language inside the rooms. After the 15th room, the screen starts shaking and you move more slowly. At this point, the girl is shown full body in front of a faraway door. You start moving slower and slower as she gets closer and closer until she's right in front of you. She screams and the screen goes black. The game resumes after a few seconds inside a strange green room. When you open the door, you'll notice you're in a completely different hallway. The walls now contain what are believed to be hanging bodies with slash marks all over them to accompany the writing. The music changes to a much creepier tune, and the bodies start swaying. The words on the walls get worse and worse, saying phrases such as, "What type of cruel god would do this?" and "I'll do anything, let me out." There's also more mention of Kiomu, with phrases such as, "Kiomu is waiting for you," and "There's no escape from Kiomu." Occasionally, Kiomu will appear in the distance, watching your every move. The new doors you go into all have more difficult spots to find the keys. After about 8 more doors, the walls start glowing as if there's a fire. Once you move about 12 more doors, you'll see the main door, adorned with spikes and radiant flames. If you've collected all of the keys, you automatically begin to approach it. They all get inserted in, and the door opens. All that's inside is an endless black room. A void. Kiomu walks up and says, "I am the..." and the game crashes. All saves are lost, and nobody knows what happens next. Now that you know what happens, I urge you not to play the game. Coincidence or not, all who've played it have met troublesome fates. The people who didn't get to see the second part had lesser things happen to them. For example, some people had their grades plummet, or they got in trouble with the law for crimes they didn't commit. Some even went broke or lost their job due to mysterious, unforeseen circumstances. However, for the people who actually did see the second part, the majority had far more severe problems. Some of the lucky ones died, or had someone they loved die. For the most part, the other people would go insane, speaking of how Kiomu is hunting them and trying to kill them, and how she's torturing them. Some of them were even found hanging, covered in self-inflicted blade wounds. Now, I would be lying if I said that everyone who played the game or reached the hidden part met misfortune, but these coincidences are undeniable, and it's truly not worth the risk. So as I said, if you ever find this game, it's advised that you don't play it, and immediately destroy it. Well, that is, unless you have a death wish.